Welcome to Shivkumar classes. Today the topic which we are going to discuss here is underwriting of shares and debentures. When a joint stock company wants to sell its shares to the public for public subscription, instead of selling that shares directly by the company to the public, it will give to certain number of persons for the purpose of selling the shares. The person who is going to sell that shares to the public, they are called as the underwriters. For example, even the banks also will do this work on behalf of company. The bank will try to sell the shares to the public. Even the bank also acting as one of the underwriters. So, the meaning of underwriting is It is an arrangement in which one or more persons called underwriters were agreed to take up the entirely or a certain portion of unsubscribed shares and debentures of a company in return for a consideration called as commission. So, this underwriter acting as an agent for the purpose of selling the shares to the public. Yes, the company is providing them the commission. The commission payable to the shares is 5% and the commission payable on the debenture is 2.5%. Now, let us see one example that the company issued 10,000 shares of ₹100 each. The shares underwritten by underwriters are as follows. The company issued 10,000 shares of ₹100 each. The shares underwritten by the underwriters as follows. There are three underwriters. First one is Mr. X and second one is Mr. Y and third one is Mr. Z. So Mr. A underwrites 5,000 shares. Mr. X underwrites 5,000 shares. Mr. Y underwrites 3,000 shares and Mr. Z underwrites 2,000 shares. Calculation of commission, how that commission will be calculated, because I have shown two different examples here. When it is issued on the face value and when it is issued at the premium, how that commission will be calculated. Let us see one by one. So the calculation of commission for Mr. X, the company issued 5,000 shares and cost of one share it is 100. Company issued 10,000 shares. Mr. X underwritten 5,000 shares. 5,000 into 100 and commission is 5 by 100 is equals 100 gets cancelled. 5 5s are 25. 25,000 rupees is the commission payable to X. And for Y, 3,000 shares of ₹100 into 5 by 100. Again 100 gets cancelled. 3 5s are 15. 15,000 rupees is the commission. And for Z it is 2,000 shares. 2,000 into 100 into 5 by 100. Again 100 gets cancelled. 5 2s are 10. 10,000 rupees is the commission payable on the shares. This is the example which I given. The share is issued at par. But at the same time, if the company issue the shares at the amount of premium, let us see that example as example number 2. The company issued 10,000 shares of rupees 100 each at a premium of rupees 10 each. It means that the face value of the share is 100 rupees and it is collecting 10 rupees extra from the public. At that time, what amount of commission will be calculated? Very simple. So, what you have to do? 5,000 into 110 into 5 divided by 100. And for the second person, it is 3,000 into 110 into 5 by 100. And for the third person, it is 2,000 into 110 into 5 by 100. Yes. 5,000 into 110 into 5 divided by 100 is equals 27,500 is equals 27,500. And let me calculate for the second person. 3,000 into 110 into 5 divided by 100 is equals 16,500. And for the third person, it is 2,000 into 110 into 5 divided by 100 is equals 11,000 rupees is the commission. Now I have shown the example for the shares. In the same manner, we need to calculate for the debentures. In place of 5%, we need to apply 2.5%. Next, coming to certain explanations. Now, types of underwriting. The types of underwriting, it is the very first one is on the basis of number of shares underwritten, and the second one is the on the basis of liabilities. Now, on the basis of number of shares underwritten, it is classified into complete underwriting, and the next one is the partial underwriting. The complete underwriting means that the the entire issue of the shares, it is underwritten by the underwriters only. They only will sell and give it to the company. And coming to partial underwriting, only part of the shares issued by the company will be underwritten by the shareholders and remaining will be sold by the company itself. And next, coming to on the basis of liability. Under this on the basis of liability, the first one, it is the most important for your syllabus. It is the open underwriting, and the second one is the firm underwriting. So the most important concept which is going to be discussed into the examination point of view is firm underwriting. So what is this firm underwriting? All that we are going to discuss one by one. Now the very first one is the complete underwriting. Complete underwriting means the entire issue of shares is underwritten by the underwriters. Second one is the partial underwriting. The underwriters underwrites only part of the shares and the remaining shares are issued by the company. Next, coming to open underwriting. The open underwriting is also called as the pure underwriting. So under this system, the underwriters underwrites the unsubscribed shares of public. In case if the public does not buy any of the shares, only that shares they will buy, it is called as the unsubscribed shares. But the firm underwriting is full and full entirely different. Firm underwriting, under this system, the underwriters underwrites or agrees to subscribe the definite number of shares irrespective of number of shares subscribed by the public. It means that either the public purchase the shares or not, whether the public applies or not, the underwriters will apply certain number of shares for their own purpose. That is called as the underwriting firm underwriting. Now, after coming to this, the most important thing of this chapter we are going to discuss here, it is the classification of application received. The application which is received from the public, it is of two. One, it is the marked application, and another one is the unmarked application. What do you mean by marked application? So when underwriters issue shares to the public will apply it is to the company. When they apply to the company, we must know that this application is received from the which underwriter, because different underwriters are there. Therefore, every application will bear the official seal of the underwriters. So, when an application received bears the official seal of the underwriters, it is called as the marked application. Then, what will be our next topic? So, our next topic is that unmarked application. What is this unmarked application? When application received does not bear the official seal of the underwriters, so it means that it has been received directly from the public. So when application received does not bear the official seal of the underwriters, then it is called as the unmarked application. Now let me explain one small problem with simple explanation. First one is in this problem, first let me explain how to calculate the unmarked application, and this problem is one of the method of the complete underwriting on the basis of number of shares. The example is that Miss Madhusri Company Limited issued 10,000 shares of rupees 100 each. The entire means complete, fully, complete, completely, complete. The three different words will be given. So the entire issue, the number of shares issued by the company 10,000. The entire 10,000 share is underwritten by the three underwriters. Who are the three underwriters? First one is Mr. X 5,000 shares. Second one is Mr. Y 3,000 shares. And third one is Mr. Z 2,000 shares. Next line. Total applications were received rupees 8,500 shares from the public. It means what? Company issued is the 10,000 shares, but the public applied is only 8,500 shares, of which marked applications of underwriters are as follows. So the application which is received is of both marked and also unmarked joined together 8,400, of which only marked application is given. The marked application of Mr. X, it is given 4,500 shares, and Mr. Y, it is given, it is 1,500 shares, and Mr. Z, it is given that 5,000 shares. Calculate the liability of the underwriters. Liability means that still how many shares they need to sell, and each and every person should sell how many shares, that we are going to see that. The very first one is the calculation of unmarked application. Because marked application we have with us and total application we have with us 8,500. Therefore, we have to find how much is the received directly from the underwriters and how much is received directly from the public. That is called as the calculation of unmarked application. The total application received from the public is 8,500 shares, of which marked application of Mr. X it is 4,500 shares, which you can see here. Second one is the Mr. Y it is the 1,500 shares, and Mr. Z it is the 500 shares. So overall you get the application received from the underwriters marked application is that 6,500. 8,500 of that less 6,500 shares. Therefore, the total unmarked application which is received directly from the public is the 2,000 shares. Let me repeat once again. The company received from the public is 8,500 shares, of which Mr. X marked application is 4,500, Mr. Y it is 1,500, and Mr. Z it is the 500. 4, 5, 6, 6,500 is the shares. So therefore, out of 8,500, 6,500 is the marked application and 2,000 is the unmarked applications. Okay. Now, based on this, the next one we are going to find the calculation of gross ratio. That is, Mr. X is applied for how many number of shares? 5,000 number of shares. And Mr. is applied for 3,000 number of shares, and Mr. Z is applied for how many number of shares? 2,000 number of shares. Now you can see that one. Mr. X applied for 5,000 shares, Mr. Y applied for 3,000 shares, Mr. Z applied for 2,000 shares. Now that we are going to record, we are going to find the in terms of ratio. Cancel 3 zeros are common. So when 3 zeros are common, 5 is to 3 is to 2. Any calculation relating to this chapter, this problem, we have to distribute based on 5 is to 3 is to 2. Now let us continue to do the problem. Yes. Now working out of the problem. The statement showing liability of the underwriter. Gross liability. Mr. X is underwritten. How many number of shares? 5,000 number of shares. And Y underwritten 3,000 number of shares. And Z underwritten 2,000 number of shares. So 5,000 plus 3,000 plus 2,000, the total we get it is 10,000 number of shares, and this is in the ratio of 5 is to 3 is to 2. And the next one is we have to less unmarked application. The unmarked application is we have calculated already. The unmarked application which we have calculated already is that 2,000 number of shares. That 2,000 number of shares should be distributed among the underwriters. 2,000 into 5 by 10, 3 by 10, 2 by 10. So that is 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 10. Therefore, 5 by 10, 3 by 10 and 2 by 10. So, 2,000 into 5 by 10, we get 1,000 shares, and 2,000 into 3 by 10, we get 600 shares, and 2,000 into 2 by 10, we get 400 shares. 1,000 plus 600, 1,600 plus 400, it is 2,000. Now 10,000 minus 2,000, we get 8,000. 5,000 minus 1,000, we get 4,000. 3,000 minus 600, 2,400. 2,000 minus 400, we get 1,600. Now the second step what we have to do here, it is we have to minus the marked application. That 4000, 2400 and 1600 what we got, it is called as the balance. And next we have to less the marked application. The marked application of the underwriters are the very first one is Mr. X 4500, Y it is 1500 and Z it is 500. So 4500 and the second person is 1500 and the third person is 500. If you observe that Mr. X has received more number of marked application than is balance. Therefore, for him we have to write minus 500. Now, 2400 minus 1500 we get 900. And the next one is the 1600 minus 500 we get 1100. Now you see that if you observe, for Y it is the positive answer, for Z it is the positive answer, but for the X it is the negative answer. This 500 is called as the surplus. So he has received more than the requirement. Therefore what we have to do, this 500 has to be distributed among Mr. Y and Z on the leftover ratio. So what you have to do, this 500 shares has to be distributed in the leftover ratio is 3:2. It means 3 by 5, 2 by 5. So obviously this 500 will be the plus 500. And now this 500 shares has to be distributed into 3 by 5 and 2 by 5. For Mr. Y into 3 divided by 5 you get 300. And for Mr. Z you will get 200. The balancing is 1800. The balance is 4500 plus 1500 plus 500 you get 6500. 8000 minus 6500 when you minus 1500. Now this one is the dash. Minus 500 and plus 500 it is nil. 900 minus 300 you get it is 600. 1100 minus 200 you get 900. So 900 plus 600 you get 1500. So in both the side if you see that 1500. So Mr. X need not to sell and give any shares. From Mr. Y, still they need to sell how many shares? 600. From Z, they need to sell 900 shares. This is called as the net liability. One clarification that company issued overall 10,000 shares. The company issued overall 10,000 shares. And public applied. The public applied is 8,500 shares. 8,500 shares. So next leftover it is 1,500 shares, still it is not issued. This 1,500 only is this 1,500. Out of this 1,500, 600 share from the Y and 900 shares from the Z. It is the pending to be sold. Thank you very much for watching the. And in case of any queries, you can clarify through the comment box and subscribe my channel for the further notifications. In my next video, let me explain the partly issued shares. Thank you very much for watching the video.